Good morning and welcome to Esoteric Ramblings. I'm Jesse Arnold, and today I'm bringing you my first thoughts reaction to WandaVision Episode 7. Everybody, welcome back to Esoteric Ramblings. I'm giving you my WandaVision Episode 7 review right now, and I'm just really excited about this show. It has been a lot of fun. Yes, we've been kind of starved for Marvel shows and movies and things over the past year and a half since Far From Home came out, and this has been filling a great need for that stuff, and it's just good. Even if it had come out immediately after Far From Home, I think it would be as good and as enjoyable. I don't think it's just a lack of story that's making this so good. It's a really, really well done show, and all that to say, if you have not watched last week's episode of the show, don't watch my review, because I will mention spoilers from previous episodes in this. So if you've not watched any of it, don't watch the review. If you've not watched last week's episode 6, don't watch the rest of this video. I will give you warnings before I spoil content from this episode. Again, it's kind of hard to get a lot into this without spoiling it. So again, great performances from all the cast involved. I think Elizabeth Olsen is doing a phenomenal job on this show. I can't say I'm a huge follower of her career. I've seen her in, Godzilla, the Marvel movies. I just watched Wind River the other day, and she was great in that. And I'm sure I've seen her in a couple other things here and there. But I think this show is really, really, really giving her a lot to play with as an actress, to show a huge range of stuff. Because in last week's episode, when she switches from the Sokovian accent to her regular MCU post Age of Ultron, where she doesn't really have the accent anymore, and her sitcom voice, like the mom voice that she uses, it's such. It's not even subtle, but it's so seamless how she switches between them. Just the light, airy playfulness of the sitcom mom, the more reflective and intuitive and thoughtful version of her when she's talking to Pietro and they're having the more serious conversations, which reflects her voice when she was talking to Vision in was it Civil War and different things. So yeah, I think the whole loss of the accent was her trying to assimilate into the culture to not feel as different from everybody else. I think that was an intentional choice, unlike other Marvel movies characters who have and had and drop and lose accents, but that's a whole nother video I'm not going to get into, and it's not MCU related. So but yeah, I think she's doing a fantastic job, and Paul Bettany, the poor guy, is spending more and more time in that Vision costume, and I know from different things that's a lot of difficulty getting in and out of that makeup, and he has difficulty hearing because of the ear covers and everything. So yeah, and I just love really seeing Jimmy Woo and Darcy and Monica and all these other characters getting to be fleshed out more and see more and more of them, considering how minor roles they played in previous encounters. It's nice to see them really get to evolve and grow as characters in this show and the larger Marvel universe as it goes forward. So yeah, this episode kind of plays with a little Modern Family, a little bit of The Office, kind of with the interview, the faux documentary type aspect that those shows did. And it's fun. It's fun seeing that. It's a little sad seeing the older era stuff disappear and being the more modern style of the sitcom show, but it means we're getting deeper and deeper into what's actually going on. And I won't spoil anything here yet, but you do get some answers. We do find out what happened to Darcy pretty early on in the episode. Yeah, and I think, I will say this, there is a mid-credit scene. So after like the theatrical credits with like the backgrounds and everything, there is a little cut scene there. So make sure you stick around for that. As far as I noticed, there was nothing at the very end when it gets into the all the extra stuff, but after the initial main credits, there is a scene. So make sure you stick around for that. And with that, I think I'm going to cut away to my spoiler section. So if you have not watched episode 7, stop watching now. Well, as I said in the first half, you don't have to wait long to find out what happened to Darcy. That was one of my biggest questions from last week's episode, is what happened to Darcy. She got handcuffed to one of the sword vans or trucks, and everything got turned into a circus. And I know there were a lot of jokes going around that she was going to be her character from Two Broke Girls, which would have been a fun little nod to a little meta. But what they did was fun, and so she's still handcuffed to the van, but she is now the escape artist for the circus, and she encounters Vision fairly quickly, and of course she doesn't know who he is, and it's just a neat little setup, and it's cut in between the Office / Modern Family style, where they're doing the asides to the camera, the confessionals and stuff. So that was kind of fun. Wanda is somewhere between, I don't remember the characters' names from Modern Family. It's been a while since I've watched that, but she's kind of a mix of the mom and the dad, where she's kind of a big mess and in the beginning of this episode. And yeah, we definitely get to see some major things play out. So there are lots more spoilers in this section, so I'm not going to hold back. She's having a rough day. The kids, her magic is freaking out. All this stuff keeps transitioning. Different elements of the house and things around her keep sliding between the modern stuff, 80s, 90s, retro. I think they had it in the teaser. The kids are playing their video game and they changed to N64 and then Atari controllers and then just to old style Uno cards. So that's just kind of a fun little blip, that Wanda's losing control, or maybe she's not as in control of everything as she thought she was. And she's reeling internally from the events of last episode. And it's great she gets to flat out tell the kids that their uncle, she's like, that man is not your uncle. So we don't know who he is yet, but she definitely tells them that. Monica and her team, and Jimmy Woo, go to meet her aerospace engineer guy. And as far as I know, we did not meet the guy. We did meet, I believe it was Major Gooding, I don't remember, Good something. Another military agent, military personnel, who delivers the van that we've seen pictures of to Monica and Jimmy, but it is not... it's not Reed Richards. It's not Blue Marvel. It's no one that we know. I did a search afterwards to try to find anything about this character. So I don't think that sword or military personnel that delivered the van to Monica was the actual aerospace engineer. I'm wondering if we will get to see that in a later episode, because this episode was only about 30 minutes long. So I know there's a good bit of the show left in the next 2 episodes. So I don't know if they will save the reveal of the engineer, if they will be part of solving the problem. But we did not get that answer today. And I know the actress playing Monica teased that she can't wait to see how we all react to it. And seeing as that I have no idea who that character is from Marvel Comics, not that I am having encyclopedic knowledge of Marvel, I did not know who it was. And even with a Google search, I couldn't find an answer to who that person was. So I think the aerospace engineer will remain a mystery and may not be revealed until the final episode, or even like a stinger at the end of the entire series. In which case, my money is still on Reed Richards, the Fantastic Four, or someone from the Fantastic Four. But that's who my guess is, or yeah. But I'm not going to be upset if it's another character. As long as it's interesting and cool, that's all I really care about. Let's see. Of course, two of the biggest things is, Vision and Darcy are trying to get back to Wanda. And the whole intro is it's basically the Office intro, but everything is Wanda. It's just everything's about Wanda. She's not thinking about Vision, or she's trying to keep him away because she knows he was trying to get out of the hex. So you've got Vision and Darcy trying to get back, and everything keeps preventing them from getting back to town because, she expanded the borders, so they're further away. And she's having a rough day, so Agnes comes over right on cue, and Wanda's definitely not holding back her power usage in front of people anymore, and she offers to take the kids, and I'm just like, that's a bad idea. That is a very bad idea. Even though we don't know who you are, there's something wrong with you. Don't let her take your kids. And she willingly offers them up so she can have a day to herself, and she just keeps experiencing all these weird things. And the kids are over at Agnes's house, and Tommy, Wiccan, whichever one Wiccan is, says, "I like it here. It's quiet." And she's like, "Oh, that's nice." And she's like, "No, it's quiet inside your head. You're quiet." So definitely a cue that something is weird with her, and it plays into the thought of maybe she's dead. Maybe everybody in Westview is dead. But it's definitely ominous. There's like a thing there. And I'll come back to that because Wanda goes to get the kids later. She visits with Agnes, and we'll get into some of that in a minute. So Monica gets in the van. She's trying to get through this barrier. She's all hooked up in a spacesuit and hooked in, and she's ready to go. Major Goodard, I think is Goodard. So it's like, oh no, she'll get through, no problem, smooth sailing. She goes, she hits it, and it's resisting her. It's resisting her going into the barrier. The van starts to get pulled in. She jumps out. The van gets thrown, and it's half pickup truck, half the special truck. And Monica runs through the barrier on her own. And there's a really cool moment there. And we get to see her become Photon. So yeah, that was really cool to see her pushing herself through, and you hear more and more dialogue from Captain Marvel and different things from her life, and she's kind of splitting out into different versions of herself, and she pushes through, and she's herself, and the jumpsuit that's underneath the spacesuit is the white and black top that kind of is reminiscent of the Photon uniform, which I think I mentioned in last week's video about seeing apparel for the show that was like a white sweater or sweatshirt that looked like that. So that was really cool to see that. Vision's still trying to get home, and you cut back to Wanda going over to visit Agnes. She asks where the kids are, and there's some weird things going on in the house. And Agnes's house is very weird looking. It feels creepy, and there's weird things going on, and I've probably just spoiled it, but Wanda goes downstairs, and there's trees, like in a door in the cellar. There's like roots, kind of has a Stranger Things vibe, and then she walks through this hallway in the basement. Kids are nowhere to be seen. It's very ominous, it's a very threatening feeling, and then you see enchanted or magical items on shelves, kind of like Odin's Hall of Weapons. And there's like a book, which I don't know if that was supposed to be the Darkhold or the Book of Vishanti or something else, and other items. And then Agatha walks in. Agnes walks in and reveals that she is a witch, and she's got purple hex power, so her eyes glow purple, and it cuts. And you get this whole sitcom title sequence where it's basically going back and showing you how Agatha has been behind all the things that have been going wrong through the series so far, which was a fun little thing. So it just definitely ends with a threatening, ominous vibe. The kids are missing. Vision's trying to get back to Wanda. Monica actually had a confrontation with her, and that's when Agnes shows up. I did forget to say that. Monica and Wanda have a confrontation, and Agnes comes and pulls Wanda away. And then that's when she's in the house looking for the kids and everything. So yeah, it's an intense episode. It's really good. I am so excited to see what happens next, because all these threads are starting, the tension is really built up nicely. And the commercial this week references basically an antidepressant tablet called Nexus. and it's like it can anchor you to your reality or any reality of your choosing. So we're definitely opening the doors to the multiverse here. If that was in any doubt at this point, it is wide open, I think, with that acknowledgement. And whether Wanda walked through a portal into another dimension in the basement, we're not sure. But yeah, and then the zinger at the end, I will leave that unspoiled. I'll let you watch the zinger at the end in the credit scene without spoiling, because it doesn't have, I don't think, a huge connotation, at least for my understanding at the moment of what's going on. But it was a fun little moment in the episode to build some more tension for next week. So yeah, big theories have been revealed. Monica is now officially, she's not named Photon, but she definitely has her powers. Because as she pushes through the barrier, her eyes are glowing like this light blue, and she can see different wavelengths coming off the phone towers and all the different things. Agnes has been finally revealed to be Agatha Harkness, and yeah, so now whether or not she's the main villain or if there's still something going on behind her, we have not seen her husband. Whether he ever existed is another thing, or if he's Mephisto in disguise pulling the strings for her. We'll see, because it is the MCU. Things can be different from the comics, obviously. Excuse me. So he might not be involved at all. It might just be Agatha messing with things the whole time. And I will say, the last thing I'll say, I know a lot of people were getting nervous about Agent Hayward, or Director Hayward, and thinking he was Ultron or he was Mephisto, and to me, I never got that vibe from him. I got just the dutiful military guy who was doing his best to protect people, and in some ways he's so blinded by his dedication to that he becomes kind of a jerk and a bad guy in some regards. So I don't think he's anything more than a guy who's trying to do the right thing, albeit the wrong way. It's not trying to defend him. I just don't think he is a villain in the evil sense of the villain. Much like General Ross to the Hulk, or characters like that. That's how I kind of feel Hayward is. And hopefully he'll come around by the end of it, or maybe he'll double down and go full-born, military villain by the end of it. But we'll see. So that's it for my WandaVision reaction to episode 7. Just really excited to see what happens next. Obviously, there's got to be some sort of confrontation, a final showdown. And, I don't know how much with over 2 hours of storyline left. I don't know what we'll get as far as the denouement, after the battle, after whatever this big confrontation is. We'll see. But that's it. I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.